Hello, ladies and tenno. I'm MrSpirit,
And here's Fenrir Duckfing again. Hey yo everyone, all you community aces out there.
and today we're going to talk about mod cards. Now, what are mod cards? Mod cards are what make tenno, weapons, set everything better. They improve your damage, they give you elementals, damage, they increase every types of aspect of the game. But we're going to go over the basics today. And for basics, we'll be covering Warframe mods, your primary, secondary, melee, your cores, and your basic auras, stances, and Exilus mods, because these do play in with the Warframe and the melee weapons themselves. So let's start off with how the mods work. The mods work by installing them into their respective type. So if it was a Warframe mod, as you can see on the bottom of the mod card, it says Warframe. If it was for a primary weapon, it would state if it's for a shotgun or a rifle, because that's the two classifications. There is a bow type mod, however, it will state bow on it. I believe there's two in total that are exclusive for that. For secondary, everything's considered a pistol. Don't ask why, it just is. And for melees, it will state melee, and if it has throwing melee, there are a few throwing melees, but we can cover that with our weapons guide. Now, what does the Warframe mods do? By installing them into your Warframe, you can increase health, shields, you can add resistances to damage or increase armor, increase how far your Warframe can do its abilities, how much it takes to use its abilities. There's a lot of things that it can do. And if you use them right, you can actually build very optimal builds for your Warframe and its powers. These mods are usually used to build as a group. So you think...
On navigation, Tenno.
Thank you, Lotus. You work as a group and build how you're going to build around each other. So, say someone's going to be the tank. They'll mostly want to use something that either buffs their armor or health, something that makes them more stable. If they were going to be something more backline, more shield would be a good idea, along with a range increase to help from a longer distance. You build them around how you play as a group. If everyone's going to be frontline, then everyone will want to be able to take reduced damage. They won't have to worry about range as much. But you'll also have to be aware of each other. So having Vitality and Steel Fiber mods are definitely good for frontline warriors. However, backline you'd want your redirection for your shield. So you have to play your mod cards as you would to help yourself along with others. So if you're going solo, make a solo build. If you're going with a group, have a group build. Play smart, and you won't have to play harder. Now, with frame mods, there is a special type called the Aura mod. This has a special slot, but it doesn't take mod capacity. It gives mod capacity. So having one of these is very useful to increase how much you can put into your Warframe.
And if the aura mod that you install has the fitting polarity, polarity is the symbol you see next to the mod cost. If the mod's polarity is the same as the slot's polarity, it will not only add that respective number as mod capacity, but it will double that amount. And if you upgrade an aura mod, not only does it get stronger, but it also gives more mod capacity. So even if you find an aura that is not so useful, if you don't have another aura, it's always good to install it, even if just for the mod capacity.
Yes, and if it's the wrong polarity, it halves how much it gives. So if it's not the right one, but it's the only one you have, it's better than nothing. So say I had Pistol Scavenger, and I had a V-type instead of a dash type. It's going to cut that in half. So say I use it as is. It's got 2 capacity. It's only going to give me 1 capacity. However, if it was also a dash, it would give me 4 capacity instead of 2. And if there's no polarity whatsoever, it just gives what the card says. So if all I had was the Pistol Scavenger, it's better than having no aura mod at all. However, picking something with the same polarity is a better advantage because of the double capacity. The only way to get aura mods, though, are through alert missions, so you have to watch out for those. You can trade them from other players. Sometimes I will give them away if I have doubles, because I usually only use one, being the corrosive projection. However, I do like having ones on hand just in case I can build around a team instead of just going off of the same one type. But overall, your basic frame mods are stuff that you'll want to pay attention to. Stuff that increases, say, power strength, increases your Warframe's abilities. If it's something that says plus 40 health like Vitality, it affects your Warframe's health. Everything in here affects your Warframe directly. So pay attention to what you're putting in, and not every mod you throw in is going to be useful to your Warframe. There are many guides online, but you can also ask around for people, and they will usually be kind enough to tell you what's good for your Warframe, depending on what type of build you're going for. So if you want something frontline, you invest more into the defensive mods.
Or let's say you have a very mobile Warframe that relies on trickery in order to survive rather than its health pool, because those kind of Warframes often have a very terrible health pool. You're not going to want to improve that health pool, but instead what you want to do is to install mods that allow that Warframe to more reliably activate its trickery to stay alive.
So next we have our primary mods. These mods affect your primary weapons, and they come in both shotgun and rifle. There are some that say primary weapon, but they have specific weapons that they'll attach onto, and you'll be able to tell when you go into your arsenal to upgrade your weapons with mods, and it doesn't appear. So if it doesn't appear on that mod list, it's not able to be used on that weapon. So what you'll always want to look for is it a shotgun or is it a rifle? Because you do have those two weapon types. You need to figure out what's going to be useful. Am I using shotgun more? Then I want shotgun mods. Am I using a rifle type more? Then I want rifle mods. These are the big questions you need to know. And then from there you need to go, do I need more physical damage? Do I need more elemental damage? Or do I need more crit damage? That's where you start looking into, does it have a status effect? Like Frigid Blast here has plus 60% cold damage, so it adds cold damage to your weapon, and plus 60% status change. which increases the chance that the cold will proc, or any statuses that are on the weapon, such as impact, slash, or puncture. So you look around at stuff like that. You also look around for stuff that increases damage, such as heavy caliber, serration, or point blank. These will increase all damage types on the weapon, be it physical or elemental. And then you look for any side grades to your weapon, such as Hush, which makes your rifles completely silent to the enemies, which can make it so you can turn off of bows into just rifles and be able to cause more damage and more havoc in stealthier missions. The other types that you'll want to look for are multi-shots, which will reproduce the same effect. So with Hell's Chamber here, shotgun mod.
The system continues to fall into chaos.
Thank you again, Lotus.
For active invasions.
Yes, I know. Hell's Chamber. It's a shotgun mod and increases my multi-shot by 120%. That means every shot I fire will replicate that same shot again and have a chance to replicate it a third time by 20%. So I fire one blast of my shotgun, so it now fires 2 shots without consuming any additional ammo, and any status effects that happen will happen again. It is a great effect to have on both your shotgun, and there is a rifle one called Split Chamber. Both are useful to have around. They just outright double your damage, pretty much.
Especially so on, for example, those, because you only have what would usually have 1 arrow instead of 2 arrows. So that is not pretty much, but a direct doubling your damage output. So Split Chamber is one of the more important rifle mods out there.
And other effects to look through is Punch Through. Punch Through allows you to shoot through multiple enemies. The higher your punch through, the more enemies your shot will go through. With a 1.2 meter, you'll be able to go through at least 2 enemies. With 2.1, you'll be able to go through at least 3 enemies and 2 quadrupeds. And if you have 4 or higher punch through, you'll be able to shoot at least through 3 quadrupeds and at least 4 bipeds.
Tenno, there's a time-limited mission opening.
What is interesting
Check
is
navigation.
arrows from bows have innate punch through. That means they can just outright pierce through enemies and hit the next enemies even without installing a mod on them. However, these enemies will have to stay closer together because it's innate punch through and thus not upgradable, except you install another punch through mod.
So that covers our basics of primary weapons. The same can move over and apply to secondaries as well. However, everything is labeled as a pistol, be it a kunai, a shotgun, the Staticore, which look like gloves, a pistol, a magnum, anything. They're all considered pistols. So all secondary mods you will find will say pistol in the bottom right hand corner. And that's where you have to pay attention to. Once again, if it says pistol, it's not going to work for your primary. If it says shotgun or rifle, it's not going to work for your secondaries. And the same goes for melee. It says melee in the bottom corner, so you will not be able to equip it onto your primaries and vice versa. So with secondaries, they have mostly the exact same thing. They're all the same effects, you'll find everything. So what you'll want to watch for on your secondaries though is Suppress is a very good mod for a silent secondary if you want to carry around, say, a pistol instead of a kunai. It'll allow you to cause great damage. It's a mod I recommend upgrading fully. I use it on my Lex because I one-shot people in the head, pretty much a pocket sniper rifle, and they'll never know I shot the guy. You'll also want to look to see, does it have a good status chance? If it does, go a status route. If it has a crit chance, up the crit damage. If it has no go on in between, then just putting statuses on it to make it a more deadly weapon for more damage, along with base damage mods like Hornet Strike or Magnum Force. You'll also want to look out for stuff with the multi-shot once again, such as Lethal Torrent, because once again you are doubling your damage output with multi-shot. And with melee, mods you'll want to look for are high damage mods. There is a very common one that I recommend maxing out right away. You'll find lots of these. It's called Pressure Point. It gives you 120% melee damage increase. Very easy to use.
If you fully upgrade it.
Yeah.
If you fully upgrade it.
Yeah, it's very easy to use. It's very common to find. And it's a great mod for all melee weapons. Just outright great.
I currently carry around 72 pressure points. That is how often you find them. I was selling a lot of them half a month ago. So
yeah, I have 160. I have a maxed out pressure point. I need no other mods. All these extra pressure points I could sell off and get credits for. They're so ridiculously easy to find, but it's such a good mod. The other damage mod you'll want to look for is a Spoiled Strike. It increases your damage another additional 100%, but it lowers your attack speed by 20%.
Which you can offset by adding the mod Fury, which increases your attack speed by plus 30 if you fully upgrade. Or
Yes.
if that's not fast enough for you, you can try to get your hands on a rarer mod called Quickening, which gives you further plus 20 attack speed.
I believe that's one of the mods that I actually don't have. Yeah, I don't have Quickening. But say you want to kill your enemies even faster than that, you can get a dagger and get Covert Lethality. 100% damage on melee attacks or on lethal damage from finishers. So you sneak up behind someone, you stab them in the back, instant death. No worries. It's a very powerful mod with a dagger melee. But you have to be careful when using it that you don't get spotted, or else you're just going to be poking them in the face. We also recommend using stuff like Blood Rush and Body Count if you get your hands on them for a good melee combo, or getting your hands on extra damage mods like Jagged Edge or Heavy Trauma to increase impact, slash, or puncture damage based on what you need. You can also find ones that do increase damage to specific races, such as the Grineer, the Infested, and the Corpus. But always make sure to have a pressure point on your melee weapon.
And for some of the Warframes out there that often go in for melee but don't have so much ways to sustain themselves, you might want to find one specific mod called Life Strike. What it does is, if you equip your melee instead of quick meleeing, you will be able to get lifesteal if you channel your weapon. That means if you have activate the glow on the melee weapon.
Yeah.
Lifesteal just means that, well, the name kind of implies it, you heal yourself by dealing damage.
Yes. However, channeling does consume energy, but it increases the damage that you put out while you channel. So be careful if you go and try and life strike and you have no energy, because you're not getting life back. And next we have stance mods that play in with melees. These are exactly like the auras. However, they're specifically for melees, and they cause a very neat effect to the melee weapons themselves. If you quick melee, you will notice no difference, because you're just hitting your melee button quickly. However, if you switch to your primary weapon, each mod has combos which will allow you to deal massive amounts of damage or allow you to get around the field very fast doing massive amounts of damage. For example, the most rare heavy blade weapon, Tempo Royale. It stands for heavy blades, so two-handed swords, two-handed hammers, two-handed axes, big heavy weapons. And it does great amounts of damage because it hurls you towards enemies in an AoE fashion by spinning around. It is great for clearing through rooms full of infested or Grineer all piled up together.
But just about every melee weapon type, every melee weapon has some stance it can apply. It can install on itself. Also, just like aura mods, those stance mods do not cost capacity, but add capacity when you install them.
The one thing you have to keep an eye out between a stance mod, though, and an aura mod is the weapon type. You have whips, dual swords, single swords, scythes, tonfas, fists, machetes, pole arms, nikanas, glaives. You've got every melee weapon type in here. There are a few rarer ones like Vulpine Mask, which the rapier weapon, there's only one of them. So getting your hands on the mod is a bit harder. Whereas something like fists or whips or single swords are a lot easier to come by. The hardest one to come by overall is High Noon for the Redeemer. It's the only gunblade mod there is, and it's the only mod for the Redeemer. So, when you are getting a stance mod, make sure it is for the weapon type you are going for. If you don't know what your weapon is classified as, you can easily look it up on the Warframe Wikipedia, and it'll easily help you figure it out. Or you can go to your arsenal and to your melee weapon and upgrade and look for the stance mod symbol here, and it'll bring up any stances that you own that can be equipped into it. And once again, the polarities do apply for doubling and halving.
Speaking of the Warframe wiki, the people here are pretty much going to ask themselves now, where exactly do I get mods? How do I get specific mods if there's so many of them?
There's thousands of mods.
Mm-hmm. So the answer to that question would be that every mod gets, well, not every mod, but most mods get dropped by specific enemies to a certain extent of chance, depending on their rarity. Now, what enemy drops which mod, you can also just look up at the Wikipedia, so at the Wikia. So that's why I noted that here.
You may also find some mods from doing sabotage missions or spy missions and completing them and finding all 3 caches in the sabotage, or getting all 3 datas in the spy missions. However, there are some mods that come from specific events or places, such as in Melee, Blood Rush, Body Count, and Berserker come from doing spy missions on the Oricant Moon. Whereas some come from the Raktha, which was a special event, which you can still do, but you'll have to do it a lot more to get these mods to drop, because they're special mods, they're event mods. They don't just drop for everyone all the time. They are still
Also-
tradable.
Also, there's the so-called corrupted mods. What they do is they give a great bonus on one status, but give you a disadvantage on another. For example, they increase your weapon strength, but decrease the weapon accuracy, or increase the damage output, but decrease the attack speed.
Yes, like our
Those-
spoiled strike here.
Exactly. Those mods you can find from this Oricon Derelict, which you will have access later on, and you want a full party to get to them, because each one of the party members will have to carry one of 4 different keys that are going to debuff you, and if you go with only one key, you only have a 1 chance of being able to open the vault that you're gonna find in the derelict, because in that vault you're gonna find that mod.
But there's a lot of corrupted mods to end up with for Warframes, primaries, secondaries, and melee. So just be wary that just because you went in and grabbed it doesn't mean you're going to get that specific mod. However, once the vault has been opened and the item has been picked up, everyone in your party gets the exact same mod, so no one can complain that, oh, you got the mod that I want, or, oh, look at me, I got the mod that you want. No, everyone gets the exact same mod, so you don't have to worry about being in a group with friends, because now you all get the exact same, you all work together to get this one mod.
Exactamunda.
If you do go in with less than 4, I suggest 3 at minimum, because 3 out of 4 is a
Tenno,
better
A new
chance.
alert has begun. It will be marked on navigation.
So next we have our Exilus mods. These are for a specific slot in your Warframe. It starts unlocked and you have to get an item to unlock this slot. However, they can still be used in the normal Warframes slots themselves. However, they waste a slot which could have been used for a better mod. These mods are special to help with the environment. They act as passives. So Thief's Wits allows you to see stuff through your mini-map on the radar. You've got drift mods, which can increase strength or movement. You've got stuff that recovers knockdown recovery, stuff that increases your bullet jump and glide, or hanging onto walls. These are just passive ones that you really don't want put directly onto your Warframe. However, you will find them as you go along. And they can be useful once you get that Exilus slot unlocked. But don't worry, they're not very important ones. They are still handy though. You will find a lot of intruder mods though. They are worth selling. However, it does work with Grenier in terms of it's not seconds, it slows down how fast the spinner bounces around. So the higher that is, the slower it goes. So it makes it a bit easier for those. But overall, it's worth selling. And lastly, what we're going to cover today is our fusion cores. These are a mod that helps you power up other mods. Now,
In itself, it has no ability whatsoever other than being used in a fusion.
yes. So the way it works with fusions is, say I want to increase a mod strength, such as Vitality here. Vitality is only 40% health increase. But there are empty dots you can see at the bottom, which are the rank of the mod themselves. So the higher the rank of the mod, the higher the capacity it takes goes up, but the more efficient it becomes. So that 40%, if I take that up to rank 9, I now have 400% health. But it costs 11 capacity to have that into my Warframe. But I can use duplicates of vitality along with credits, and I can up the value of that vitality to make it better for myself. Or I could use other mods with anything, but it's going to cost me more credits than it would if I use doubles. The cheapest route, though, however, is fusion cores. They have no polarity, they count as doubles, they count as exact same polarity, but in themselves have no polarity. Do not fuse fusion cores with other fusion cores because it is pointless. All you're doing is adding that power into the exact same thing, and you could have just gotten the same result by putting it directly into the Warframe instead of spending those extra credits. Fusion cores also have ranks as well, from 1 to 5, with rank 5 rare being the best, but there is one more above that called the primed fusion core or legendary fusion core. They come from a special type of mission, and they are extremely rare to get your hands on, and they max out one mod card completely, no questions asked. But these rare rank 5s are the best ones you can get besides that, and they give a lot of experience into a card. Just remember, the higher the rank the card, the more it'll take to rank it up. So enemies that drop mod cards also have a chance to drop fusion cores in its place. These are what you'll want to use for your more rarer type of mods, such as stances, auras, rare mods in general, and anything that's common, you'll just want to use duplicates. However, something in the middle, the silver ranked mods, you may use a combination of both duplicates and fusion cores to rank them up. Just use your lower cores for the more silver ones or lower ranks, and use your rare cores for the higher up ranks that have at least 10, or anywhere that's above 5. I haven't seen anything above 5 that's like 7 or 9, or that. I have only seen directly 10. So when using fusion cores, be smart about it, and they will do a lot more. So I'm going to show you guys now how a fusion directly works. So fusion, if I click on it, it says select a mod to begin fusion. So say I want to increase the vitality here. How many vitality I want to select? I want to select 1. Now the fusion lights up in white, and the cell lights up. So I could sell it for 200 credits, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to fuse, to make this stronger. Now I get some options here. I can click on any mod I want to add into it, or I can go up to the auto contribute to choose doubles or fusion cores. So let's click on doubles. I want to use all my doubles. If I used all my doubles, I would make it to rank 6 3/4. It would cost me 33,300 credits for it. However, let's see if I use all my fusion cores. I would reach up to rank 8, and it would cost me 155,850 credits. That's a lot of credits. That's a lot of rank. If I went up to the rank 8, I have 360 health. But if I went to the rank 6, I have 280%. You have to debate which one seems more worth it. I could do both if I wanted to. It may not get me to where I want it to. So let's see where it will get me if I do all of them. And I want 111. Okay. So even if I did it, I'm still at rank 8. And now I'm at 189,150 credits. It will take time to get these mods up, but you'll be able to reach at least rank 5 within a considerable amount of credits and a considerable amount of mods. So don't worry about getting to max rank with your mods right away. Focus on finding your damage, finding your survivability, and then go from there. We'll talk about the other mod types for Archwing and your companions and augments in another video. These are just the basics, and hopefully it helps you in your journey to becoming a better Tenno.
So everyone, make the Lotus proud, and always stay the ace of your team sleep.